Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Jacob, he, him, his pronouns, and I am the chair of the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Committee. So, welcome to our first meeting of 2024. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. So, let's go ahead and get started to call to order and establishment of quorum. Natalie, if you would be so kind as to do the roll call.
Of course. Jacob Rostovsky,
I am here.
Tanya Fairley,
Here.
Reese Isbell,
Here.
Danielle Munoz,
Here.
have a quorum.
Wonderful. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move to our second agenda item. So we are going to have the discussion and approval of the September 11th, 2023 committee meeting minutes. Just let everyone take a second to read through, and then once you feel ready, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes and a second.
Move to approve the minutes and thank Jacob for accepting the role as chair via our discussion in September.
And I second to approve the minutes and thank Jacob for accepting the nomination to be the chair.
This is Sabina.
Awesome.
Sorry, this is Sabina. If we could include the date of the meeting in the meeting minutes motion, that would be beautiful.
The date was September 11th, correct?
Correct. I just want to make sure the motion is clear as possible. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. And you're all welcome. I know I was absent for that one, so I was voluntold. I'm just kidding. I would have done it anyway. So thank you for nominating me. Okay, so if we have our second, any public comment for this?
There's none here in person.
And then if we can open it up online.
This is the moderator. The Q&A is open. Instructions are on the screen. Click on the question mark, type comments, send it to all panelists, or if you're calling in, *3 to raise your virtual hand. No requests at this time. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Yes, please. Awesome. Well, then seeing no public comment, if we can go ahead and do a vote.
Jacob Rostovsky,
Yes.
Tanya Fairley,
Yes.
Reese Isbell,
Yes.
Danielle Munoz,
Yes.
motion passes.
Awesome. Look at us getting the work done. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to item discussion 3, or agenda item 3, discussion of diversity, equity, and inclusion webpage. So there won't be any motion for this discussion, but we're going to ask Christy if she can go ahead and provide us an update, and then we can discuss. So take it away, Christy.
Thank you. So within your packet under agenda item number 3 is the information that we have developed for our web page. So this is now active on our Barber Cosmo website. And this is the information that we've provided as just kind of a reference for anyone who is interested to go onto our web page and look at what this committee decided to put out there. So we think it's awesome. But we are certainly always open to any suggestions that anyone may have or any additions that you may have. But this is currently open and out there, and we can always make changes as the committee sees fit.
Thank you. And I would just add that I really appreciated the good long discussion we had at the last meeting about a number of these ideas and changes. It was a very helpful discussion, and I appreciate the work that's gone into this.
And I think it's really awesome that when we're looking at some of these changes, improvements, is a lot around equity to becoming licensed, right? And equity to being able to access schooling and learning and training. And so what that shows to me is that, you know, people want to be part of this field and people want to be included and recognized and seen. And so I hope with this committee, we're able to further expand on that health equity. And also something to think about is once joining this field, right, how we encourage people to stay, right, and be involved and active, because representation matters. So this is great. Any other thoughts to this? Thank you so much, Chrissy, by the way, and team for this.
Oh yeah, I was gonna echo what you said. Thank you so much for making this live and putting our putting some work already down for the DEI committee and taking some action so early on. The website looks great to me. I didn't see a chat feature to like put it into a chat, but hopefully everybody was able to look at it.
Yes, and I would also like to echo too, thinking of chat at Spark here, it says make website easier to navigate on mobile devices. And I think it's important that we always remember accessibility and diversity and equity inclusion goes to the disability community. So often left out of conversation. So I always like to highlight that and remember that that's part of this committee as well. Any other thoughts? Give it a second. No? All right, so then let's go ahead and open to public comment. Chrissy, anyone in the room?
No public comment here.
All right, are you so feel so lonely out over there in public? Oh, well, sending our energy to you. Any online, if we can open that up.
Yes, this is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. The instructions are on the screen for your reference. If you would like to participate, click that question mark inside a square, type comment, send it to all panelists. If you're calling in, *3 to raise your virtual hand. We do have Jamie. I'm going to send a request to unmute your microphone, and that's Jamie Schrabeck. Then request has been sent, and I've set my timer for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Jamie. When ready, go ahead.
Jamie, I see you're unmuted, but I do not hear an audio. You might want to, from the mute button.
Is this better?
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Good morning. This is Jamie Schrabeck from Precision Nails. I'm thrilled that this information is being provided through the board's website. I would just recommend that in the listing of organizations that you distinguish between government agencies where there are actual laws that apply to businesses that operate in California versus NGOs, so that those two things aren't mixed together because they obviously hold different status in terms of what we're required to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very important information. I saw Chrissy wrote it down and I did as well. Any other public comment?
No further requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Just give it 5 seconds. 1,
Yes.
2. All right, we can close it now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to then move ahead since no motion was needed on that. So agenda item 4, also no motion, review and discussion of DE&I social media report. So Christy, once again, the floor is yours.
Right, thank you. So we did a survey of our licensees. We received 2,190 responses, which in our licensed population seems like a small amount, but that is actually very impressive. A lot of people don't respond to surveys. So we were super happy that we got a little over 2,000 responses. And so this was something that we had discussed at the last meeting, is kind of really trying to reach out to our licensees and check in with them on who are we going to be talking to, and what is the interest of what we should be talking about. So in your packet, you'll see that 59% of our responses were cosmetologists, and the next largest group after that was estheticians. 30% was establishment owners. 25% are from the ages of 50 to 59 years old, and the next largest group after that was in the age of 40 to 49 at 22%. 85% identify as female. 22% describe themselves as Hispanic or Latino, with 12% identifying as Asian or Pacific Islander. 15% have a disability. So thank you, Jacob, for that last comment that you made about that. That's important that we do keep that in mind. And 67% identified as heterosexual or straight. 19% were born outside of the United States, and 87% identify as English as their primary language. We asked what specific changes or improvements respondents would suggest the state board make to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we've listed the several topics that have we received back. Interesting enough, the very first one is add natural hair, textured hair to curriculum. This is actually something that I've had 2 legislators reach out to me about, that we might possibly be seeing in some legislative proposal, is making sure that schools have in their curriculum textured hair. It's something that New York recently did. And so I think we might be seeing a bill soon relating to that specifically. And then you can see in your packet the several different items that have listed. A lot of this we actually are looking at anyways. We already attend as many trade shows as we can in normal years. One of the things on here was mentioned earlier today in another committee, which was make continuing education mandatory. That's a very tough thing to do, but I think we could keep it in the backs of our minds as we look forward in a couple of years as we go into our sunset review process. That would be probably the time that we really attack some of those major policy changes that would take that legislative change. Making the exam available in more languages. We're always looking at our other languages. We are starting to translate our items into different languages. We have not done the exam yet. Our last was simplified Chinese, but we are going to be looking at translating our health and safety laws and regulations into both Russian and Ukraine. We're seeing a lot of those languages pop up more and more. So we want to make sure that we have language access to those communities that are at the high point of who are really looking at our health and safety regulations. I won't go through every single item, but I do think it is important for this committee to review and see what we may look at doing in the future. On the second page, we talk about what we've been continuing to do. I'm not sure if any of you saw our media campaign. I'm sure you probably all did, but we did hairdos for the holidays. And we worked with the Department of Consumer Affairs, and they developed some great posts for us. We went to a kind of a vintage holiday multicultural web postings to increase awareness in the holidays. A lot of people go to the holiday parties, so a lot of people were getting back into their salons. And so we wanted to kind of focus on that, trying to change things instead of saying Merry Christmas, saying Happy Holidays. And then we're always trying to support different communities. You know, certain days we did, we celebrated Native American Heritage Month, and Latino Heritage Month. So we're always looking for things like that on our social media. Again, our social media, which is headed up by Natalie, has been great in the last year and a half. We've really increased all of that, and I think we're doing a really good job. So if there's anything this committee thinks we can do in addition or even do better, we're of course always open to any suggestions that the committee may have.
Let me just say this is Tanya, that when you talked about the textured hair and what's going through legislation, being and understanding what the Crown Act is, I think is something that everyone, especially on this committee, can kind of take a look into, because that was a huge win for the state of New York. And the lady who championed that bill has definitely made headways and have done a lot of conversations with other boards throughout the US. But also understanding that, you know, when we talk about DEI, it's sad that we have to have this as a topic so that discrimination comes in all forms, right? So here is one thing that you guys all probably never really even thought about, but the reality of it is being discriminated because of your hair, the type of hair you have, the texture, how you wear your hair is so huge that having this curriculum added to the state education, it's more than just how to style the hair. It's just it's so much more. So I would suggest everyone to take a moment and read about the Crown Act, and you will see why this is very, very, very important. The other thing I wanted to say was one of the bullet points was about the more college outreach, since cosmetology is cheaper at junior college than at a private school. I think this was a huge something that was pointed out from our community, because it is true, a lot of people cannot afford to go to a private college. So the community colleges who offer this education should definitely get, I'm not saying they should get more support, but there definitely should be a big push, because if we take a look at our population, most of our population probably comes from the community college, which takes a little bit longer than a traditional college.
Yeah, I want to second, actually second everything you said, Tanya, from the Crown Act to this point. Thank you for that. I agree with you about the community college piece. What you just said right now kind of stuck out to me too, that I believe if you can get it at a community college, it is much cheaper and there might be better financial options. And then just, you know, community colleges are more resourced and regulated anyway by its natural structures that they're a part of. So it's safer too, but not to endorse anything over the other, but that one is, it is a really good option that would help we could maybe highlight in some way. But to your point about the Crown Act and the importance of adding the textured hair, this is the one I hear the most when I'm talking just with folks in the community. If I'm getting my hair done or if I'm talking to hairstylists, they say the same thing. I wish I had this, like I want to learn and I wish I had it in my curriculum, but they don't offer it. And so I have to go and find it on my own. And then it becomes sometimes a resource issue if they can't afford certain classes. So it did make me think about that. And knowing that we have this committee going, it was really great to see that as like one of the first bullet points, because I'm hearing that from the folks in the industry and I'm experiencing it for myself. Well, just with even my own hair, like it's extremely hard to find someone who just even knows like my curly hair, like it's Latina, and to maybe I just recently found someone who actually knew what to do, and it made a huge difference. But also just what they're telling me to do with my hair and put in my hair could damage or could make it healthier. Like as a public member on the board, I can absolutely tell you that absolutely affects me, depending on what my stylist knows. And so if it's offered in the curriculum, that just helps in so many ways. And this one I really resonate with as a public member. So ideally, anything we can do to uplift this particular piece and put it in the curriculum, which I didn't know that as a public member, that it wasn't in the curriculum, that maybe like my hair or other folks' hair, people of color and people with textured hair, knowing that we're not even included in the curriculum, you know, I feel like that's something I want to advocate for change.
Yeah, I echo everything that's being said, and you know, something that I saw here too, it's along the lines of like outreach and equity is this idea of waivers, right? And something that kind of I'm thinking about from, was it either the last committee meeting or the meeting before, is that this board is heavily based is funded heavily, right, from licensing fees and renewals, right? And so, and maybe this is more of an agenda item for next time, but thinking about, how we could discuss waivers and equity to take these exams and become licensed, right? How that would affect our board, right? Because we're very fee based. And then what are maybe some options such as like a scholarship program, or, when someone renews or applies, there's a little box that says, would you like to contribute to our, scholarship or fee waiver assistance program, right? So I think that's something that we should definitely continue to discuss, because a lot of these responses, I think I mentioned earlier, because I got the agenda items confused. That's what happens when you don't have a lot of coffee. But, you know, a lot of these responses, a lot of these excesses, accessibility issues are heavily based on barriers in finances. So I agree. And then I also think too, and like I said, this could be our next topic for agenda items, but continually in educating ourselves around the Crown Act would be very important, right? Like, I think we should be able to have a presentation or read about it, or just us as a board should hold ourselves to that standard to actually read about it. So thank you, Tanya, for bringing that up. It's very important. Any other thoughts on this? This was amazing. Thank you all for doing this. I love surveys. I'm a survey nerd, so I am that person that presses 5 at the end of a phone call, right? Customer service, would you like to take our survey? That is me.
Yeah, this was really great. I love that we got some of this feedback to start informing our work.
Okay, well, if not, let's go ahead and move into public comment. First in person. Christy, anyone in person?
Public comment here.
No public comment? Okay, let's go ahead and open it up online.
This is the moderator. The Q&A is open for public comment. The instructions are on the screen for your reference. If you would like to participate and you're logged in, press on the question mark inside of the square, typically bottom right corner of your WebEx screen, and type the word comment in the text field, and make sure it goes to all panelists before clicking send. If you're calling in, *3 to raise your virtual hand.
Have anyone?
No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Yes, please. All right, so public comment is closed. Let's go ahead and move to agenda item number 5. Well, we reopen public comment for anything not on the agenda. Chrissy, anyone there in the last 5 seconds?
Public comment here.
All righty, let's go ahead and reopen up public comment online.
This is the moderator. The Q&A is open. Instructions are on the screen.
Just give it 5 more seconds. Nope. All right, we can go ahead and close public comment.
If I have a question regarding one of the items on the thing that just came up to me, can I add that right now?
I am not sure.
No. Sabina, can I just jump in really quickly? I have a question on
Yes.
one of
Which item are you referring to?
on the piece of where it says navigate on mobile devices. I had a question about the DCA website.
Oh, sure. I think Christy might be able to answer that.
Okay, just really quickly, just standard, anything that goes out through DCA on those websites, do they have like they already are formatted for like readers, like for folks who are sight impaired and they can't read? Are they already formatted to be like mobile friendly? Do we know?
You have to double check. We believe so.
Okay.
We do have to go through ADA
That's what I meant.
certification for anything we post online.
Right.
But we'll double check and make sure.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a form, like that would be applied to all across the board under DCA. I'm sure that's just automated as you post So if it is already, then that's good, because then anyone that is blind, then their reader will pick up the headlines on the page and read it correctly. So I just wanted to make sure that's already there.
Okay, I believe it is.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's a great question. So let's go ahead and jump to our next agenda item, future agenda items. I'll go ahead and jump in. I just have my list here. I would love to keep discussing the potential around financial accessibility. So like waivers or scholarship programs. So just a way we can continue breaking down those barriers. And then I would also love perhaps an agenda item around DE&I in other states, right? To like kind of see where we can start modeling. So for example, an overview of the Crown Act, or if there was another really important act in a different state, that would be great. So those are kind of my two, because I feel like we're sort of in this investigation phase right now of this committee. So I think those would be two great discussions.
On the
Other agenda items.
I second that. I was actually going to ask that we have more information presented on the Crown Act. One of the committees that I am a part of is a Bench to Community initiative, and we do a lot of work regarding the breast cancer awareness and what the products are, the effect that they have had on the African American and Latino communities, and how diverse findings are. And so part of introducing and understanding the Crown Act had to do with the products that go into natural hair. So I think that if we had that as an agenda item, gave time to read the legislation, you can kind of get more of an idea of other things that are happening that affect that particular item, textured hair and so forth.
Yeah, and on that idea of what's happening around the country, I think that that's helpful. I don't know if there's any kind of like national group or what have you that has experience in these kinds of things. I know, for instance, there's the GARE program, which is government association on racial equity around the country, and it brings cities and counties and state best practices together on racial equity in general. I don't know if there's anything along those lines related to our work specifically, but I do know obviously there are a lot of other best practices going on around the country, and it would be wonderful to get some more information, or at least share information with others as we're all working on this together. And in some places it's harder to work on this than others, and it would be helpful to get some useful ideas, just however that might be.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like we're early, we're in a place of learning. So that all of those, I second everything you all said. It feels right where we're at right now, just learning and reading and educating ourselves. I would also want to add just maybe also a verbal intention, because we are starting this new, that just our scope is public safety, consumer safety. So where this intersects, right? So also just like learning and understanding where if DEI isn't a principle that's honored, what are the possible risks to the consumer? And also starting there for anything that we want to do moving forward, so that we're still, everything we're doing is aligned with our mission. Because this is a beautiful effort and can go a million different ways if we want it to. So staying like in our scope for the public.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel, for bringing that back to our reminder that this is about protecting the public. And we forget that, like, I know it sounds weird, but like public are people, right? That have a whole bunch of different backgrounds. And this is a great chance to do something. I have to say revolutionary. any other agenda items for next time? I know we put a lot on there for you, Christy.
Right.
Sorry.
We put a lot on there. In the very future, like I just want to plant a seed that the adding the texture hair to the curriculum is really a great way to move forward eventually. So again, we're still in our learning phase, but eventually, if that's an interest, if there's anything to offer to put on the agenda, like if that's happening somewhere else right now, you know, maybe adding that into our list of education. Like, what would that look like? Is there anyone else doing it if we were to ever pursue that?
Awesome. Yes. And I love it. We're like all agree. We're in an investigation phase. That's me, you know, with my research stuff. So cool. All right. Well, I guess that is a pretty good suggestion for future agenda items. Don't believe we do in public comment on this one. So with that being said, if we can move ahead with our last agenda item, adjournment.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was great.